the Sustainability Management Master's Program, you are answering one simple question. Do you care about your future generation? If you care about your kids, their grandkids, then you care about sustainability. And a sustainability manager is someone who has the tools to make people understand how they can contribute towards developing a sustainable world. We have both part-time and full-time students. Our curriculum is 30 hours. Instead of thesis, we have a research project course and a seminar course which provides them with the kind of research background they will need to be successful in their job. But at the same time, sustainability is not always everything about environment. It also relates to the business. They will take a sustainable business strategies course. They will take a project management course. Most of these courses are going to be taught by industry people, the people who are doing sustainability on a daily basis as a part of their job. Any organization that has a large number of employees and has a physical infrastructure, they will have to have a sustainability office. If you have the passion to develop and maintain a sustainable world, come to us and we will help you shape your passion into a career which will create an impact.
It's very exciting to be here. Just really cool that there is a sustainability program. They did not have that when I went to the University of Wisconsin, back in the day. So really awesome that you guys are dedicated and going to be out there doing this work. So my company is called Green Team Spirit, and I developed a program that I've licensed to the Green Business Partnership. The Green Business Partnership has had 5 different names over time. We started as a Westchester Green Business Challenge. We became Westchester Green Business Certified, and because we became a statewide program, we decided that a company in Syracuse is not going to be interested in being Westchester Green Business Certified, so we changed the name to the Green Business Partnership, and hopefully that's what's going to stick. But democratizing sustainable business, I don't think this is rocket science. I think that sustainability is actually really practical and really not very difficult to do, but it's a lot of work. So that's what our program, and the whole purpose of our program is to just pare it down and make it easy, especially when you're walking into a really busy company. They're like, we're super busy doing the work that we do, and how do we do this on top of it? So this is really one of the goals of our program, is to make it easy. So the background, I had worked on this Westchester Action Plan for Climate Change really back in like 2007. And the entire county was divided into sectors. So there was a business sector, there was residential, there was higher ed, K-12. So as part of the role and goal of the business sector was to come up with a sustainability program for the county and for businesses in the county. So there are 3 partners in the program: my company, the County of Westchester, and the Business Council of Westchester, which is Westchester County's largest chamber of commerce. We now have an association partner, New York Library Association. We have 35 libraries across New York State that are in the program, from Albany State Library to Saratoga Library and others in between. And this is becoming an incredibly interesting opportunity for our program, because this is working for us at the association level when they are telling their members to join the program, and we're not running around and recruiting these libraries, and they're joining the program, but we are now their benchmarking platform. So we are a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and therefore all these wonderful sponsors. So New York State, back in 2014, gave us a $540,000 grant because they recognized this program as one of the only programs out there that is delivering aggregated data for businesses. And part of what they gave us money to do was develop a web platform, which is really kind of just being finished even as we speak right now. So, and we think the big game changer. And the very cool thing about most of the companies and all the bronze sponsors, they're all certified. So what happened is they went through the program and they really, want to put some money behind it to help support us. So this is part of the screenshot from the new website. We absolutely love it. Had this beautiful design created by a designer in North Carolina, and there's more to it below, but basically it reflects every aspect of the program, from organizational commitment, water and energy, carbon footprinting, transportation. So I want to show you who's in the program so you can see that sustainability applies to everyone. So we work, and the ones that are green are certified, and we're working to really turn, we've got 4 slides of these, we're working to really turn everybody green. So we have libraries, we have the Birdie's Auto Spa, who's winning our water award this year. This guy takes his really efficient vehicle and steam cleans cars, right in their driveway with minimal water. And so a lot of interesting kinds of companies that we have in the program. Hospitals, New York Presbyterian Hospital. We have renters, we have building owners, we have property managers. DeChico & Sons is a grocery store. We really need to get them certified because they have an incredible story, and every supermarket and grocery store should follow in their footsteps. Regeneron Pharmaceuticals is a huge pharmaceutical company growing leaps and bounds. Just a lot of leaders here. So and we have nonprofit organizations, religious organizations. The Dominican Sisters of Hope are quite amazing, and they're actually out there on the front lines protesting for things, and they're really cool. We have solar companies. JP McHale is actually a pest management company. They just got certified, and they do, as one of the things that they do is integrated pest management. But we don't really care what a company does. I mean, we have a company in here, one of our companies as far as sustainability creates plastics. It has combined heat and power and solar and geo and everything that you can imagine, but you open your Tate's cookies and that cellophane on those Tate's cookies is manufactured by his company. And this came up yesterday. We did a lunch and learn, as we do quarterly for our members, and trained them on the dashboard. And I had a couple of members sort of complaining, but our product is so green. We're not getting enough credit because our product is so green. And you know what? I love the fact that your product is so green, but not every company's product is, not everyone is selling a green product or service. But don't we want every single building or business out there to do this work, and not just those that are selling green products and services? So that was something that was discussed yesterday. And LeChase Construction is a LEED Platinum company, but they went through the program and ended up making a lot of changes, even though they had already earned LEED Platinum status. So these are logos of our certified companies, and we really hope to have 4 slides of this very soon. So Get Started, Get Sustainable. This is our brand new greenbusinesspartnership.org, and the 3 major points for companies: reduce your impact on the environment, save money, build your business, get certified, and get recognized. So someone was asking me earlier, and it's very, very important for companies to know, and for you guys to be able to make the pitch to a company about the business case for sustainability. And one thing that we know is really important to companies is the recognition. So we make a really big deal about, when a company gets certified. We do a celebration at their workplace, and we have our companies stand up as leaders for other businesses. So through our program, very simple, they join online at greenbusinesspartnership.org. They're onto their company dashboard, which is really awesome. Through the dashboard, they can conduct their employee survey, go through a green action list. I'm going to go through this in a little more detail. Measure their greenhouse gases. They submit a final presentation, and they submit all of their materials to us for review, and then they achieve certification and get that wall sticker. So if you guys know anything about the cost of what a sustainability consultant charges, this is incredibly inexpensive for the value. So basically, my company, Green Team Spirit, I was out there consulting with companies before I started on this program and charging a whole lot more money. But part of the issue is that, when you're working I could only work with a few companies. This program has given us the ability to work with, hundreds of companies at a time. And the beauty of them is collaborating with each other, and they're really become this very cool network. Never wanted the cost of membership to be the reason that a company did not join the program and go to try to get certified. So the 7 areas of focus, and these are probably very familiar to those of you who are studying sustainability. Organizational commitment, numero uno. Without the company leadership saying that this is valuable, that I value the time that my employees and staff spend on this, it's just not going to work. So that's the most important. Energy, materials management, waste and recycling, materials management, purchasing, transportation, land use, and water. We give awards out every year for these 7 categories. We're having an award ceremony on June 12th, and we're having our 8th annual, and select companies that really hit it out of the park in those areas. So I'm going to take you quickly through these categories. So the program is based on policy, action, and performance. So every single section is required that an environmental policy is developed. And we actually, for this one, we've written the policy. And so we've handed the policy over to the company. They can just put their logo on it and put the name of their company and sign the CEO's name and be done. But very important, and that policy has to be disseminated to the whole company and to all staff, and basically letting them know that this is the policy of the company. And, with starting, Green Team is now required. We need a coordinator to communicate with us. We require companies to incorporate it into HR and job training. So just as you get to a new job and you learn that this is a company policy on diversity, well, this is the company policy on sustainability. And this is, you have to agree to do your job in the most sustainable manner. Landlord-tenant is something we've been grappling with for years. We do programs on this all the time. We're always trying to facilitate that relationship. We don't want it to be adversarial, and those relationships, when the landlord-tenant relationship works, it's really a wonderful thing, because at the building level and then at the office level or the tenant level, then positive things can happen. And then we're very big into celebrating. So this is an example, one of our companies, so we love this. They put their green team up, actually in our new dashboard, that all the team will be on the dashboard. And, from Regeneron, commitment from the top, the CEO, boom, this is what we think, and this is very important. Greenberg Nature Center, they're actually winning our most coveted award this year, but they basically took our program and put together a sustainability policy and training manual. So if you go work for the Greenberg Nature Center, you get handed that manual. So again, policy for energy, there are 40 actions, 19 are required, and these are the topics: energy audits, lighting, heating and cooling, appliances, and renewable energy. So a company will go step by step through each of these sections. We give them guidance on how to get the energy audit, who to call. For New York, it's call your local utility. We list the utility. We say, here's the contact at NYSERDA, which is, I don't know, anybody here who lives in New York in this room? Anybody? Everybody lives in New Jersey? So no one. That's pretty amazing. So we have NYSERDA, which is a New York State authority, where they are the ones that provided us with the money, but they also help and do energy audits. And so companies are just addressing all of these topics, and again, they will be providing and collecting data to perform the greenhouse gas emissions inventory tool, and they'll also be collecting the cost, usage, and activity related to that. This is one of our members, Diamond Properties, football fields worth of solar. That is me on that roof. It was quite frightening to get up there. There was no regular staircase. It was a steep ladder. But, we have companies doing solar. We have, major hospitals doing completely, renovating with LED lighting, getting the incentives for that. This is USTA, What's Going On. They just became certified, United States Tennis Association, and they did fabulous signage and changing out a lot of the energy as well. So waste and recycling, again, a policy. And the waste audit part is kind of funny because we require a waste audit no matter how you can do it. So sometimes the waste hauler will give you that, but most times we actually have companies like my library is literally weighing their garbage. They went and got, a luggage scale, and so they're weighing their trash. But there's a lot of, I'm sure you've read about how to do waste audits, but that's always kind of a little bit of a groan that we get. And then recycling, all, in kitchen supplies and reusables, and a whole discussion about how to have meetings using reusables or compostables. This is a fight I have all the time because we do a ton of events. And, I did an event recently, and the cafeteria caterer only had styrofoam. So I was like, keep that home. And, we brought our own, which we often do. Again, the metrics for waste are interesting because anything that you keep out of the waste stream is considered a negative. So it's a renewable, not a renewable, what's the word I'm coming up with? But it's everything is compared to what you would put into landfill. So it's a negative emission. So these are some of the members. So because of our program, New York Presbyterian Hospital system-wide eliminated styrofoam. So we're very proud of that. Montefiore, we're in a big conversation right now in Westchester County about food waste and digesters and composting and trying to come. I know the New York City has a program, very challenging to come up with a region-wide composting program, but just very, very important conversation going on around that right now. We have our companies doing e-waste disposal, and we have a large company that just now is providing composting on site for their employees, which is pretty rare. Pell Wealth, a very cool story. They're an office tenant. We trained one of their interns. And the intern was like, okay, well, in order to get certified, we have to be able to recycle. And she learned that they're recycling in all these bins that they put in, but the janitorial staff was just dumping everything together, and it was going downstairs into the big bin. And so they called us, and I said, look, you are the renter, so you are not, responsible for implementing the recycling program, but the one thing you have to do is call the landlord and have that conversation. If you have the conversation, it's out of your hands. So they called, they had the conversation, and the landlord was like, oh, well, that's not supposed to be happening. And then this very, very large office building had a conversation with the janitorial staff and implemented recycling program, not only for that building, but for 10 buildings in their portfolio. So they're actually winning the award from us this year because one phone call, made an enormous difference. So green purchasing, again, a policy. This is a way that companies can really save money fast. If they don't have centralized purchasing, if everybody from their desk can just call up and just say, hey, WB Mason or whatever, I need this, I need that. So centralizing purchasing is one way to save on purchasing, but we really, really push them to reduce. Do you need those products? Do you need to buy them? Are you switching to digital rather than paper systems? China does not want our recycling anymore, and we as a society, and especially in this country, need to figure out how to reduce our own personal waste. So, but anyway, so what happens is we give them, in the performance tool, there's a place for companies to list what they're buying now. We have some that have gone crazy and listed like 500 things that they're buying. They don't have to do that. They can give us like the main things that they're buying. And then look into the eco-friendly alternative and compare, and it automatically compares the cost. And so sometimes our companies say, okay, I'm going to allow for 10% more of a budget on materials because of switching over to the eco-friendly products. So this one, I was just having a conversation today with I met with somebody before. So putting in that one of those water dispensers into the municipal water supply is like the biggest no-brainer. So first of all, I mean, that's filtered water. It's probably cleaner than what's in the bottles. And, you know, hot and cold, very nice. And so it could just eliminate buying any bottle, because it is required through our program to eliminate the purchase of bottled water. And it's also required not to have those big jugs of water from Poland Spring, whatever. So, you know, sometimes our company's like, whoa, you know, we are just not going to be able to, but then, like, you can. And the person who I met with today was afraid to join our program because she was, like, nervous about the water and nervous about the fact that they have a Keurig. I was like, okay, don't worry about that. You know, you learn through the whole process. Keurig, I don't know it just drives me crazy that there is a Keurig, but everybody loves it. But they now have grounds to grow on. So Keurig was smart enough to come up with a composting program because it is just so ubiquitous at this point. But, you know, if there's a will. So transportation, again, a policy in the three areas is employee commuting, business travel, and fleet. So, you know, one of the things that we do is companies send a survey out to staff, and they ask staff members how they get to work, to and from work every single week, and what type of mode of transportation. That information gets fed into the greenhouse gas emissions inventory tool. Really cool. We have a great fleet part of the tool. So one of our new, I don't know if you know White Plains Linen, but they're a very large linen company, and they wash and, you know, they send linen to all the restaurants, and so they're now in our program. They have a very large fleet, so they're going to really be able to go to the drop-down list and pick their trucks and then come up with a plan to reduce emissions, you know, from their fleet. So land use, really great opportunity here. We do have a lot of corporate, you know, large corporate campuses in Westchester and North. So we are encouraging and we're showing companies all the different kinds of practices that they could do. We hate grass. You know, the grass should never have been invented. So really we're, you know, encouraging them to turn over their, you know, big lawns and put in, you know, wild planting and natural irrigation and a lot of steps toward that. So this is the kind of thing that it should look like. There's too much grass there for the funny thing, in that big composting, countywide composting meeting I was at, that is a Regeneron campus on the bottom right, and they are talking about taking some of their acreage and converting it to compost, so that would be really cool. So water in our program is really all about water conservation, because we don't measure the emissions from water, we just measure the volume of water. That is because there is electricity that is involved in transporting water to a facility, but the EPA is not measuring it. So therefore we do not offer it as something that's measurable, but we certainly give companies a lot of different tips on how to reduce water. And, you know, fun water signage is great. Messaging, that goes back to the organizational commitment. Your green team, really cool messaging can go a long way. This is my dentist. So he actually chose a dry vac versus a wet vacuum system, saving 200,000 gallons of water per year. So the dashboard, which if anyone's interested after this presentation in the next week or so, if you want to get an online meeting and go to meeting with me and I can show you the dashboard live, I'd be really happy to show you that. But so this is the top section of the dashboard, or this is the website and the different links that are at the top of the website. And so this is the front of the dashboard. So it's welcome and get certified. Locations, so it could be one company, but a company could have multiple locations. And what we do is we have to measure each location, you know, separately. So there's a discount for them for multiple locations, but, you know, what goes on in one building does not go on in the next building, and unless it's metered, you know, unless it's 1 meter. So the survey piece is super important. So we've written they're SurveyMonkey surveys that we have created, and the employee survey gets sent out with that rah-rah letter from the CEO. It's got the links to the survey. It says, everybody please complete this survey. Raise your hand if you want to be on the green team. It's part of the survey. But it really gets very specific. Do you have recycling available near you? Are you, bringing your own mugs to work, or your kitchen behaviors, your energy behaviors, you're turning off your computers at night. So basically goes through all of our 7 sections and asks their opinion on that. And then the commuting survey I mentioned before measures their commuting. And then they look at the results. We don't really look at their results. I mean, this is really for them internally, and they'll use this in their reporting. But it's inevitably, the survey is the thing that, company leaders, they'll send it out and they'll go, I know who wants to be on the green team. And then they're like, knock me over with a feather because I cannot believe that so-and-so wanted to be on the green team. So you really never know who really cares about this stuff unless you ask. So we say, don't appoint your green team, don't pick and choose, let them, self-volunteer. And, one thing to say about that too is that the whole teamwork piece of this for companies that we're finding is one of the greatest results and values coming out of companies that are going through the program. So, companies can be siloed and this department and that department, and no one has any reason to speak to each other. So this actually gives all employees at a company a reason to work together on something that they all care about. So the next part of the dashboard is the green action list. So again, all of the different categories that I keep on mentioning. And so each section of the dashboard, which I just went through, but they will go and, actually this is one example, reduce lighting where daylight is sufficient. This is required. And you can say where you are. We have links for basically everything on the dashboard, and we hope that some of these links still remain through the EPA, et cetera. But and then this was a comment from, I think, Purchase College, that they we tell them to really keep tight notes, because this green action list is something that will carry on for members every year after year after year. And if they've upgraded or made changes, or they've decided to go after a voluntary action, then they could just keep updating this document. So this is the thing that I wanted to show you guys at some point, but the greenhouse gas emissions inventory. So we just did this training for 25 members yesterday, and I think they were pretty excited about it. So these are the various areas, energy, travel, transportation, wastewater, refrigerants, purchasing, and the summary, which is really cool. So what we did is we actually trained them yesterday on with permission, one of our local libraries who actually had 5 years of data. So 2013 to 2017, very cool to see, all of the data across the summary chart. And they actually put on an addition and a big solar array, so their energy numbers went down. So, but this is where I was saying it's not rocket science. So look at what data needs to be collected. So it's usage and cost data. So, for energy, it's usage and cost data that you get from your energy bills. From, transportation, again, it's from documents and bills and that kind of thing. So this could be a little bit of a pain in the neck in the beginning to collect the data, but the very first time that a company goes through this process, then year after year, it's just updating it. And they kind of learn, where to keep that information and where to store it. Water bills. So, the refrigerant would impact a large, university or a hospital. Refrigerants are not being dealt with for. So again, you can look at this, but really it's not, if you parse down what it means and what kind of data you have to collect to measure your greenhouse gas emissions, then it's really not that difficult. So this is what is measured by our program, so it breaks it out into the scopes on the summary chart. Is everybody familiar with the 3 scopes? No? They are? You're not sure? So scope 1 is all direct emissions. So your heating, what you're burning on site is your direct emissions. That's what you have control over. Your indirect emission is typically from purchased electricity, heat or steam. And scope 3 are other emissions, such as the transportation and rental vehicles not owned by the company. So that's what the EPA looks at, scopes 1, 2, and 3 as the holistic viewpoint of the emissions. The other thing about the emissions is that we do metric tons of CO2 equivalent. So it's not just CO2 that we're measuring through this program. We're also measuring other gases and comparing, the global warming factors and impacts of those other gases. So it's also methane and it's nitrous, so it's not just carbon. And then because we asked for the number of employees and the square footage, we're also and the cost, we're able to provide cost analyses, analyses of per dollar of costs, usage analyses such as and activity data such as per employee and travel per mile and energy per square foot. So for example, the library that just put on a very large addition, you could say, oh, well, they're using so much more energy, but they're using so much more energy because the building got bigger and they have more employees. So when when you factor in square footage and you factor in number of employees, you can break it down to the lowest common denominator. Does anybody know about weather normalization? We're having some insane weather going on, right? So when you weather normalize the numbers, we're basically taking out the crazy weather patterns and making it, so we take a 15-year look at weather. So we don't provide this inventory tool to companies until January of the following year. So right now, 2018 is not going to be available to our businesses until January of 2019, so that we can gone through and weather normalized. So every one of those individual charts on the greenhouse gas tool, every one of those sheets produces charts, and of all different kinds, like I've been talking about. And then we have a big summary chart, which I'm happy to show you at some point online. So now our companies are being asked to put their final presentations on Google Slides because now they can update it. We have some very stagnant presentations that were created in 2015 that don't really reflect everything the companies have done. But all of their presentations are on those green links on our website. So this is an example. This was the company I was talking about, Pell Wealth Partners, who was winning the Waste Award just for calling their landlord and making a difference. So this is my team, like Kunal Shah. It's the baby of our programmer, our developer, who developed this really, we think, amazing program. But Scott Fernquist has been my partner all along. He works for Westchester County. Yana Petrakova is the person who developed the greenhouse gas emissions inventory tool. So I was like, Yana, this is what I want. And she had a brain like many of you in here, and she was able to create it. First in spreadsheets is what we were using for years. And Ethan and Nicole both go to Pace University. They're graduate students and in their environmental policy program. And so they're getting an incredible experience working on this program because they are basically working with all of our businesses. We built a forum, so no one's using it yet. I've got to really make that happen. But we built a place on the web tool so our members can say, hey, what's the best cleaning product? What's the best recycled paper? Who have you used for this or that? So I think we have to do a little bit to get them started. We created a green services directory, so our members who provide green products and services get a listing. And if you click through full profile, it gives you the map to their business. and more of a description of what they do. And then others who are not in the program, who can't be in the program, can buy a listing. So quickly, the activities. So we're a lot more than a dashboard. We've been out here for almost 10 years educating businesses. And so we do tons and tons of events. We do this 4 times a year at Westchester Community College. Leaders in Sustainability Speaker Series. We bring on experts on all different kinds of topics. And we get a really big 8 a.m. crowd who comes to these events. So the members only lunch and learn is one that we did yesterday. And we pick a different topic. We're also doing industry forums. This was at Purchase College. We've done about 8 of these. We've done faith-based. We've done nonprofits. We're doing hospitality. So it's kind of cool to also bring together one industry, let them have a conversation, share best practices about how they can move the needle forward and hopefully work together if they're not too competitive within their same industry. This is the thing that all of you want to be in. We have a great internship program. This has been a huge game changer for us and for our businesses because these students, most of them have been from Westchester colleges, go through, it's been a 2-day intensive training. I think we're going to make it now 1 day because we're on a dashboard and it'll be faster. But they learn all about the program. They become experts in a quick amount of time, and then we match them with their companies, and they go and enter the companies and help them get certified. And they have pretty much 100% track record on once they get in to help the companies get certified. So it's been an incredible experience for these students and an incredible experience for our businesses. And our goal is to get every single one of our companies certified. And they just love it. Some of these kids have gotten hired by our businesses. So I was talking before about celebrating, so we make a huge deal. We do a certification ceremony every single time a company gets certified. And then we put out a big newsletter all about their certification. We send it to our list of 2,000, the business council to their list of 5,000, the county sends it out, so there's a lot of recognition that goes on for a company that gets certified. June 12th, anyone's around, Peekskill, we do our annual Green Business Awards ceremony, and we give out awards. It's a fantastic evening, and we get like over 100 people and a huge celebration of green business. That's it. So, yeah, I just did the fast version. So, yeah. Any questions?